Okay, we did the Tongariro crossing yesterday and we survived.
Nothing is falling off.
Our legs are working and it's all good. So now we're off to Palmerston North, which is a small little town. We're staying at an Airbnb, which is actually a mini farm. There's going to be sheep and horses there, so I'm excited about that. And Palmerston North has the New Zealand Rugby Museum. So we're going to get a bit of our education on and learn a few things about rugby, because being Americans, we really don't know anything.
Nothing.
Yeah. And that's extra important because we are going to a Rugby Sevens tournament on Saturday in Wellington. Apparently, Rugby Sevens games are very short. They last less than a half an hour, and I did not know that. So we've got tickets to the tournament, and we're going to see at least 2 U.S. games. And
we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose.
We do know that America is not super good at rugby. So, and then the last game is playing New Zealand. So I'm sure we're gonna get our butts kicked, but we're gonna have a good time anyways.
The drive down was quick, and staying at a farm allowed us to meet some of New Zealand's most famous residents.
Well, we made it to the farm, and we're about to do the most New Zealand thing ever. Meet some sheep.
And her name is Emma? Hi, Emma.
And that's her daughter with the black face, Rosie.
Okay.
She's friendly too.
Hi, who are you?
Amy really enjoyed meeting the sheep, but it wasn't until the miniature horse came out that I was worried our sailing trip was in danger of ending prematurely.
Oh, I know.
You enjoying being on a farm?
I am. I mean, how can you not love this face? It's adorable.
I knew I had to get Amy out of there before any bad decisions were made, so it was rugby time.
Alright, we are at the New Zealand Rugby Museum in Palmerston North. And we're going to get our education on so we can be a little bit more educated when we go watch the games on Saturday.
I like it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Alright.
So a lot of jerseys.
Mm-hmm. All the different regions.
Alright, we're learning about our first controversy so far, and that's which came first, rugby or soccer. We've got one display right here that's talking about a guy by the name of William Webb Ellis, 1823, who's playing with a fine disregard for the rules, took up the football and ran with it, thus became rugby. And another display over there that talked about football evolving from rugby. So, first mystery, still not sure. More investigation needed. So one thing that's not in dispute, who brought rugby to New Zealand? Guy by the name of
Charles Monroe, right?
Charles Monroe.
Yeah, Charles Monroe.
And the very first game was played May 14th, 1870.
In Nelson.
In Nelson.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to learn about the history of rugby, and specifically how the game and the All Blacks developed in New Zealand. But the best part of the exhibits was the practical skills display. And of course, I had to give it a try.
Skill number 1. Put the rugby ball in.
I was too used to kicking field goals and was quickly shown up and shown the proper way to kick a conversion.
He doesn't need a tee.
No. That's just pure skill right there. Next lesson of the day. The All Blacks came to California in 1913 and gave the American All-Stars, which apparently was the California team, a whooping. And
Like 51-3.
yeah, pretty terrible. And apparently that's what people theorized stunted the growth of rugby in the States.
Yeah.
Although, we also just learned the United States actually won gold medals in rugby in 2 Olympics.
Yeah, 1920 and 1924. Did not know that.
Had no idea. So, how do you stack up against?
Like a whole head taller than me.
So, wait a minute. So, that's today's tallest player.
Tallest player.
Scoot over a little bit. Let's see how you would be against the 1905 original All Blacks.
Shortest player.
Shortest player.
We're about even.
Yeah, you're a little bit taller, actually. Just a little bit. So, you're just born like a century too late.
To play rugby, clearly. He'd win.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so what'd you learn? What'd you find interesting?
Oh, a lot about all the history of rugby in New Zealand. Like where it came from and all the competitions that they did, touring, and a lot of the history of the All Blacks versus Springboks, which is a really big rivalry, and I can understand why. Yeah.
Feel a little more ready for Rugby Sevens this weekend?
Yeah, I feel like I should sit down and really look at the rules, but I've got the history part down.
Amy couldn't leave the farm without one last goodbye to the sheep, but I just counted myself lucky that she did in fact leave. Wellington was our last stop on the North Island, and it was time to watch some rugby.
We're on our way down to Westpac Stadium where the rugby matches are. We found out though that we're not allowed to have our big cameras, so you'll have to make do with shaky iPhone and crappy audio. So we'll see how this works out. Hopefully it's going to be a good time.
We'd been told that in the past, the Rugby Sevens were a huge party with people all dressed up in costumes. The authorities had started cracking down though, so the party wasn't quite what it once was, but we were just excited to finally see some rugby. The games go on all day, but we'd timed things to arrive just as the U.S. team was warming up for their match against Samoa.
So we're watching the game. We don't know exactly what's going on. It's U.S. versus Samoa.
We're winning.
The U.S. is winning. So there's a good game. Oh. There. Oh, yeah. Something just happened. Don't know what.
Apparently, we'd learned too much history and not enough about the rules. The final score still made sense though. The crowd definitely got pumped when New Zealand ran out on the pitch, but we were a bit disappointed that the Rugby Sevens team doesn't do the world-famous haka of the All Blacks. However, that doesn't mean they weren't hyped up and ready to play.
And New Zealand scores first. What a surprise.
New Zealand dispatched with France 21-14, and there was a bit of a surprise waiting for us at the countries competing in the next match.
So I had no idea. Canada's here too. The Great White North. Love it.
Canada versus Russia didn't have quite the intensity of France versus New Zealand, but Canada came away with a victory, and we were happy to help cheer them on.
Canada 29, Russia 0. Question of the day, is Canada that good or Russia that bad?
I don't think rugby when I think of either of those countries.
The stadium may have been rather empty, but that didn't stop people from having a good time. Our friend Sarah had joined us, and of course we had to partake in a mini dance party.
Big game time. It's Fiji versus South Africa. There are a lot of Fijians here in
Fiji was still fresh off their Olympic gold medal victory in Rugby Sevens in Rio, so their fans were quite amped. This was one of the better games of the day, and Fiji had so much crowd support, it probably felt like a home game. But that still wasn't enough for the Fijians.
What did you think of South Africa, Fiji? That was pretty intense, huh? Like half the stadium was cheering for Fiji. That was pretty cool.
South Africa won.
Yeah, it was a bit of a beatdown in the end.
Pretty good.
Finally, it was time for the last game of the day, and the main reason we'd come. It had gotten quite cold, but there was no way we were going to miss this one.
This is it. U.S. versus New Zealand. All the marbles time.
We didn't have very high hopes for a victory, but the US did give us something to cheer about.
Scored first!
One try down.
The fast start by the US seemed to light a fire under the Kiwis, and it wasn't long before the tides turned.
That lead didn't last very long, did it?
From there, the Kiwis took control, and the outcome ended up pretty much like we expected.
We almost had him. We're about 5 seconds. So we're walking back from the Rugby Sevens. What'd you think?
It's fun.
Yeah.
They're very quick games, very entertaining.
Yeah. Although, truthfully, I think Amy enjoyed watching the teams warm up right in front of us, doing all the stretches.
With some pretty attractive looking men.
I'll let the experts speak for that one. But the games were a lot of fun. The U.S. lost to New Zealand. What a surprise. But it was still really cool to have kind of our first rugby experience and have it be here in New Zealand.
Yep.
Next, we get to look forward to someday seeing a full-on All Blacks game, which would be a lot of fun.
Someday.
Still on the to-do list.
Aloha everyone, thanks for watching. We certainly enjoyed learning about rugby, although we didn't learn all that much. We have more to learn before we can watch an All Blacks game. Anyways, as you can see from the title of this video, it is our 50th video. It's amazing, we can't believe it, and we really appreciate you guys for watching us. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.